famous social media platform Twitter is in news for all the wrong reasons. People say that Twitter might lose its legal shield in India and will also be charged with provoking communal sentiments. An FIR has already been made with the name of Twitter. Hi everybody, I am Dikshant and I'm going to talk about this particular issue which is going around, and also I'm going to touch upon fake news and how it can impact the internal security of a nation as big as India. First, let us try to understand what exactly are the newspaper headlines saying. There can be some confusion since these newspaper headlines are mentioning some critical technical terminology like legal shield or like safe harbor protection. So I'm going to talk about all of these also going ahead. So what exactly are the newspaper headlines saying? That they say that Twitter might lose its legal shield. They have been charged with provoking communal sentiments. Twitter might lose its safe harbor protection. The government says it has failed to fill key positions. It has failed to comply with the IT rules of 2021, which has been recently put in place by the government of India. This entire thing has happened after the UP government filed an FIR against Twitter, which put this entire spotlight on Twitter's legal immunity status. Our Union Minister for IT, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, also went on to Twitter and made many tweets wherein he said that Twitter has deliberately chosen the path of non-compliance, and this will lead to some kind of repercussions. So what exactly is happening? Why is Twitter in news? What exactly is the issue? What has led to all of this? Let us try to understand the background. Let us try to understand what exactly has happened. Let us go back in time and let us go to 5th of June. There was an incident that happened on 5th of June. Sufi Abdul Samad, this particular person that you can see here, somebody from Ghaziabad, a village called Loni, alleged that his beard was cut off and he was forced to chant Vande Mataram and Jai Shri Ram. So he says that he was attacked by a group of people that assaulted him and forced him to chant Vande Mataram and Jai Shri Ram. But later on, when the UP police investigated further into this entire case, they came back saying that this particular guy lied and this was not something which was communal. In fact, 6 people definitely attacked this particular guy, but there were some Hindus and some Muslims. And the reason for attacking him was because they were upset that this particular guy had sold them fake talismans. फेक टेलिस्मैन्स आर नथिंग बट आप इस तरह से समझ सकते हैं कि फेक ऐसे कुछ मैजिकल पावर्स वाली चीजें, कोई तावीज दे दिया ऐसा कुछ दे दिया जिससे आपको बोला जाए कि अगर आप ये खरीदेंगे तो विद इन अ वीक देयर विल बी समथिंग ग्रेट हैपनिंग, राइट, यू नो समथिंग ग्रेट विल बी हैपनिंग वेरी सून टू यू इफ यू बाय दिस फ्रॉम मी. तो ऐसा कुछ फेक दिस पर्टिकुलर गाय वाज सेलिंग एंड इसकी वजह से ही कुछ लोगों ने इनके ऊपर अटैक कर दिया. अब अ वीडियो वाज आल्सो मेड ऑफ दिस एंटायर इंसिडेंट एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर वीडियो देन बिकेम वायरल इन गाजियाबाद. ये वीडियो वायरल हो जाती है गाजियाबाद में और लोनी जो गांव है उसके अंदर, एंड यही वीडियो को फिर कुछ इन्फ्लुएंशियल लोग भी अपने ट्विटर हैंडल के ऊपर शेयर कर देते हैं. सो व्हाट रियली हैपेंस इज all this video then is shared on Twitter by a lot of journalists, by a lot of people who are influential, who are Congress leaders. So this particular FIR has also mentioned the names of several journalists and several Congress leaders who, without knowing or without understanding, have just shared this video. And FIR says that these tweets were shared with a clear intention or a clear motive to provoke communal sentiments. The FIR says that these posts or this video was misleading, and since it was initially promoted by several journalists or Congress leaders, it was again then retweeted by a lot of people. So this entire issue happened because of this particular incident which happened on 5th of June. When the police realized that this particular video was getting viral in Ghaziabad, immediately on 14th of June, right, as soon as they realized this, they gave a press release in which they clearly mentioned that there was no communal angle and Twitter must remove this video as soon as possible. In reaction to this, Twitter did not delete this video, and this is where the issue is now we're talking about. And this is why the government of India says that Twitter should be held liable, because it was Twitter who was the platform. It was Twitter that could have removed that video, and it could have led to a lot of communal clashes. It could have led to communal riot situation. There were sharp reactions by the Union Minister for Information Technology, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, and he says that numerous times we have asked Twitter to comply with the IT rules, but even after given multiple opportunities to comply with the same, they have deliberately chosen the path of non-compliance. So they say that there were IT rules which were passed, which were in place from 26th of May. They were actually released in February. And all these big social media giants were given 3 months to comply with all those IT rules. But even after those 3 months, Twitter was not ready, or Twitter could not comply to those IT rules, and hence Twitter must be held liable or must be held responsible for all of that which has happened in the Uttar Pradesh. Right. So all of this is, the basic issue because of which we are talking about Twitter today is because of the incident that happened on 5th of May. Right. So background is important. So what really has happened on 26th of May? Why are we talking about 26th of May? What really happened? It is important for all of us to understand and know that. So 26th of May was the day when new information technology rules, right, were given out, which were implemented. So as I told you before, they were released in February, but all of these big multinational giants or social media giants like Facebook, like Instagram, Twitter, they were given 3 months to comply with these new IT rules. And they were given a date of 26th of May that by 26th of May, you must comply to all of these rules. But a lot of companies were able to comply, but Twitter was one social media platform which was not complying, or which was not able to finish all these compliances. So what exactly were the requirements as according to the 26th May new information technology rules? What were the requirements? The first and the most important requirement was to have a potent, powerful grievance redressal mechanism. So if there is a grievance of a particular person, of a government, if the government asks your social media giant to delete a post, to remove a post, so that particular grievance redressal mechanism has to be in place. This was the first and the foremost requirement of the new information technology rules. The other requirement was to actively monitor the content on the platform. So whatever content is there on your platform, the particular company should actively monitor it. There should be monthly compliance reports of the Indian users must be given by that particular social media giant to the government of India. So under this grievance redressal mechanism, they had to appoint a chief compliance officer, number one, a nodal contact person, number two, a resident grievance officer, number three. So these three people were required to be appointed by Twitter. But the government of India says that they had not appointed any chief compliance officer since after this incident. So even when this incident happened, they had no chief compliance officer in place. This particular grievance redressal mechanism clearly says that if there is any video or any particular post which is exposing the private area of any individual, like for example, if it shows full or partial nudity without consent, or it shows or depicts any individual in any sexual act, right, or conduct of that sort, or is in the nature of impersonation of an electronic form, or if that particular person has morphed a picture and that particular picture is floating around on your platform, all those kind of posts or all those kind of pictures must be removed within 24 hours. Must be removed within 24 hours from the receipt of complaint via redressal mechanism. So this redressal mechanism has to be in place, and if somebody complains, that particular complaint has to be addressed in 24 hours. This was the most important requirement of the new IT rules, and Twitter failed to comply. Was Twitter able to comply? The answer is no. Two reasons. First, they were not able to delete this particular post within 24 hours. And the second reason is that they were not able to appoint a chief compliance officer also. So the repercussion of this was that now Twitter can lose its safe harbor protection or its intermediary status in India. Right? What exactly do we understand by safe harbor protection, or what do we understand by intermediary status? Let us try to decode these two things. So what exactly is safe harbor protection? It means that if suppose I am using Twitter, and if I post something on Twitter which goes viral and which results in death or some kind of violence, then Twitter cannot be held liable. Right. So since Twitter is just nothing but a mere platform where I am allowed to express my views, or allowed to express my thinking, or allowed to express or allowed to share my thoughts or videos or pictures, then why should Twitter be held liable? So, but for this, But for this, again, I'm repeating, the company has to comply to the new IT rules. And this is where the problem is. As soon as this particular safe harbor protection means that they will have to take down the content, the Twitter or any social media platform will have to take down the content if they get a legal order from the court or the government authorities. So they will not be held liable. So the only responsibility they have is that as soon as they get the legal order from the court or the authorities, they must remove that content, right? So as per the section 2(1) of Information Technology Act, an intermediary is a person that receives, stores and transmits information. So they are not, actually posting anything. They are just receiving information. They are just storing information and just transmitting information. They are just the service providers. So these people will not be held liable. That is the reason why now India says that since they had not complied to the new IT rules, now their safe harbor protection is gone. They will be losing their safe harbor protection, and now Twitter will also be held liable. So whatever has happened, Twitter will also be held liable. Why are we taking this so seriously? Why are we taking fake news so seriously? Have we seen any encounters in the past? Yes, definitely. Let us talk about 2012. In Bangalore, there was a large-scale northeastern exodus, which means a lot of people from northeast who were living and who were working in Bangalore were moving back to Guwahati or moving back to Assam because there were a lot of fake media posts on social media which said that some kind of attacks are going to be happening against the northeastern people because they are settling down in Bangalore. In 2013, we saw Muzaffarnagar riots, which claimed lives of more than 60 people. And it happened only because there was a video which was fake, which was circulated on WhatsApp, and people started, sharing it across with family and friends without understanding. The video which was circulated was actually from Sialkot, Pakistan, but went viral in India and led to Muzaffarnagar riots. In 2016, when demonetization happened, there were a lot of messages floating around which says that the new 2000 rupee note that the government is trying to implement or is trying to float is going to have a spying chip, and you will be, the government will be notified if you are using it in some or the other illegal manner. And people, spread that like fire, and the government had to step in and dismiss all of that. In 2017, we saw a huge wave of mob lynchings, right? We saw that in UP or Bihar, there were some people who were accused of, child kidnapping, and those people were killed by mobs. People were killed by mobs because they were, people were spreading fake news that this particular guy is involved in some kind of cow smuggling. This particular person is, smuggling some beef around, right? So all of this happened in 2017, and in 2020, the world knows what really happened. COVID pandemic hit the world, and WHO categorically said that the world is not just fighting a pandemic, but we are also fighting an infodemic. The information that is being spread across the world, a lot of information is fake. Even now we see a lot of people say that vaccination is not something which should be taken very seriously because vaccination promotes some kind of secret depopulation agenda, right? So God knows what exactly is happening, but people do not think twice before sharing. And when I talk about a country as big as India, where we see so many people now using social media, so many people using mobile phones who are not really literate, it is a big problem in India, right? So whatever messages you get, it is important for all of us, people who are educated, to first understand whether this message is supposed to be forwarded, whether this message should be forwarded, what can be the repercussions. It is important. So when I talk about what exactly is happening with respect to Twitter, what is the way forward? What exactly is going to happen now? Can the government decide if the platform loses its intermediary status? Yes or no? The answer is no. The government cannot decide. The government can only put an FIR. The government can only take this entire case to the courts, right? So what are the options available for Twitter then? So if the government takes this issue, takes this matter to the court, what is the option available for Twitter? Twitter can also take a legal course. So what Twitter can do is they can file a writ petition, and all of that in Supreme Court, all of that, Twitter versus the government of India, Union of India can happen. So the government will not decide, the courts will decide. What exactly is Twitter saying? Twitter says, Twitter has categorically written to Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and they have said that we would need some time to comply with the IT rules. We wanted to comply with the IT rules, but because of pandemic, there have been some delays. right? So this is where the situation is currently. I hope you were able to understand and gain some knowledge with the help of this video. For more such videos, please subscribe to our channel. I'll catch you next week. Till then, take care. Bye bye. God bless you.